Hello, my name is Ros White, and for LGBT History Month 2021, I am reading from my first novel, oops, oops, again, The Sisterhood. After Sarah's first evening at the Sisterhood Club, she makes her way home. The next chapters follow each of the girls in turn as they arrive back at their usual place of residence. Chapter 3. Sarah turned the key as quietly as she could and slipped into darkness. As the door clicked shut and sounded like a gunshot through the silence of the flat, the shakes began. The door key dropped from her hand and her bag slipped from her shoulder. She cursed under her breath. There was nothing for it. She'd have to put the light on. But that was such a risk. She knelt down, hoping against hope that she might be able to find the thing in the dark. Then her wig dropped over her eyes, blinding her and startling her, all at the same time. Shit! The word slipped out between clenched teeth. Now her knees were trembling as well as her hand, and she slowly sank to the floor in a shaking, shuddering heap. But she couldn't stay there. She knew that. Every moment she lingered was a moment longer in the crosshairs, in the danger zone of discovery without any means of escape. She knew all this, yet still she huddled on the smooth, warm laminate of the hall floor, trying to find the strength to move, to think, to just get herself out of the worst of it before Penny heard something and woke up to come and find her. No, to find him. Sarah abandoned the search for the key. She'd just have to get up a few minutes early in the morning, or was it morning already? And come out to find it. The thing couldn't have gone far, but groping around after it in the dark was pointless, not to mention dangerous. There was that word again, the one she'd better start taking notice of before it turned into more than just a word. She rolled onto her hands and knees and pushed herself to her feet. The shoes came off, of course. She knew it had been enough of a gamble taking even a step into the flat in them, but she couldn't bring herself to take them off a moment longer than she absolutely had to. But that moment had come. With a sound that was half sigh and half groan, she bent back down and pulled them off. There was a moment of just running a finger down that fantastic length of the heel and wincing as her toes seemed to spring right off the ends of her feet before resuming their normal positions. And then they just hurt. She frowned to herself in the gloom of the hallway. Another thing to look at in the morning and hide if necessary. Although how long she could keep that up was maybe open to question as well. Keeping a tight grip on her shoes and finding her bag more by blundering into it than anything else, she half slid and half hobbled in stockinged feet to the bathroom. Here she could have some light. Indeed, she would need it. She could also lock the door, but not forever. Not for any longer than it absolutely needed to be locked. What if Penny, still hopefully sound asleep across the hall, woke and needed a pee? She had been planning a night out with the girlfriends after all, while Sarah went to the rugby club later with the lads to watch the latest of the internationals on the big telly. That had been all the opening Sarah had needed. But now it was payback time, where the hope of answers, of understanding and acceptance gave way to the simpler hope of not being disturbed or discovered, when fun gave way to fear. Penny's girly nights usually involved a bottle or seven of the vino. She might well need the loo in the night. And since there were only the two of them in the flat, they never saw the need to lock the door. Sarah looked at the girl staring back at her from the mirror. Stuart was there. He was plain as day to her eyes, and the thought that nobody else could see him was simply beyond her. And yet she yearned for just that. She didn't want to see Stuart at all. She wanted to see Sarah. She needed to be Sarah. Slowly, reluctantly, a hand crept up and pulled the soft blonde curls from her head, revealing the crew cut and that awful spectacle of a man with his face covered in makeup. Sarah retched and barely managed to hold her revulsion in. This wasn't helping. She should never have gone. How could she ever have been so stupid? Why had she ever thought that giving in to this might make it easier to deal with? She sniffed back the tears and rummaged in the cabinet for the wipes she knew Penny kept there. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Get it all off, get it away, get it behind her, put it all away for another day so she didn't have to think about it until the urges returned and she began the battle between boy and girl once more. Sarah hated it. Stuart hated it. Yet it still happened over and over without end, without respite, without hope. Swiftly, the lines and features of Stuart came back into view as wipe after wipe dropped into the toilet bowl. Lips became less scarlet, the dark rings around the eyes were no longer jet black, but the more natural purple grey of tiredness and poor eating. Smooth flesh became pockmarked, blotchy, with the blueness of stubble showing through. Finally, the last wipe fell. Once more in the background, Sarah ran the tap and splashed water into the bowl for one final going over with soap and a flannel. Her tears mingled with the swirling fluid, even as Stuart despised himself for ever having let her out of the box. But even then, he knew it wouldn't be the end of the battle. And if you want to find out what happens to Sarah, you'll just have to buy the book. Hey! See you next time. Bye.